Today, the Science Lab presents to you Prac 3.1, a Model Intestine from Pearson Science 8. We are now going to go through the equipment that we'll be using for this experiment. We will be using a retort stand that has a bar attached to it. We will be using iodine solution, a 10 ml measuring cylinder. We will need approximately 1 litre of water, a small funnel. We will need some glucose solution at 10%. We will need a 1% starch solution. We will need 2 500 ml beakers labelled with starch and glucose. We will need 2 pieces of dialysis tubing that is cut at 20 centimetre lengths. We'll need 2 pieces of string at approximately 15 centimetres, 2 rubber bands, and some glucose test strips. For step 1, we're going to add around 400 ml of water to each of our labelled beakers. For step 2, we're going to take our beaker labelled glucose and we're going to test for the presence of glucose. We're going to insert our test strip into the beaker for 2 seconds and then we're going to wait for a further 2 minutes till we read the results. As you can see, the test strip shows there is no glucose present in our water. For step 3, we're going to add 10 ml of our iodine solution to our beaker labelled starch. We're going to take the iodine, pour out 10 ml in our measuring cylinder and then pour it into the beaker. Come to our most challenging step, step 4, and that is to open our dialysis tubing. If you have the chance to feel the dialysis tubing, you will notice that it is stuck together and very hard to open. So to overcome this, we place it under lightly running water and we gently rub the dialysis tubing between our fingers until it separates. Then we're able to tie a knot in one end and it is ready for use. Once we have opened our dialysis tubing, we're going to move on to step 5. We're going to place the funnel into the opening of the dialysis tubing and we're slowly going to fill with the starch solution. We're going to fill till it's about 3/4 full. We are then going to use the rubber band to secure the top of the dialysis tubing. Once you have filled up the starch tubing, you're going to repeat and fill up the second tubing with the glucose solution. For our final step, we are going to tie a piece of string to the top of each piece of tubing. We are then going to tie the opposite end to the bar that is on the retort stand. We are going to place the starch tubing in the beaker labelled starch and the glucose tubing into the beaker labelled glucose. Once both pieces of dialysis tubing are in their respective beakers, we are going to wait for 15 minutes and then observe and record any changes. You will notice that the dialysis tubing in our starch beaker has now turned a dark blue, black colour. To find out any changes in our glucose beaker, we are now going to take a second glucose test strip and insert it into our beaker for 2 seconds. We will then wait another 2 minutes before we read the final result. You can see on our test strip that it is now turned green, and this is showing there is glucose in the water. I will also show you our original test strip where it shows there is no glucose in the water.